Let's talk markets. Devang Mehta, Head of Equity Advisory at Centrum Wealth Management, is with us on the show now. Devang, to talk about mid-cap IT, do you think there is a risk of earnings downgrades in Q4 based on the developments taking place globally?
Thanks for having me on the show, Rima. Yes, I think probably what has happened for the entire IT sector, be it large cap, be it mid cap, there has been a big valuation correction, valuation contraction that it used to command during COVID times, and in fact post-COVID, when there was a lot of focus on efficiency and productivity improvement. I think most of the IT companies in the last quarter, some of them came with good set of numbers. Some IT companies, despite the street not expecting such a good sort of growth as well as good commentary, I think most of them contradicted the street and announced some good set of numbers. Even I think we were impressed by some mid-cap IT companies who didn't post great numbers, but the commentary seemed to be a little more booster towards what is going to happen. And if the world is talking about probably a US slowdown or a recession, I think there is not much of an issue for all these companies who are sort of gaining more and more momentum in terms of being competitive in services across the world. So my sense is a lot of this mid-cap IT companies where valuation contraction has happened from say 45, 50 P to a 20, 25 P. Just a classic example, a company like L&T Technology Services, just not recommending the stock, but the valuation collapse has been around 50, 60%. I think probably the company is doing all the right work in the ER&D segment, robotics, artificial intelligence. Such niche companies should probably be considered as being part of portfolios rather than getting into pure play mid-cap IT.
Okay, so you're looking at some of those names on the technology side. Pretty interesting moves happening in a couple of paint stocks today. Devang, thought I'll get your inputs on this. By the way, Asian Paints is doing quite well. After a long time, you're seeing a 4% sort of a surge in Asian Paints. It's not the only one. Some of the other players beyond the index, your Akzo Nobel, Shalimar Paints, Berger, there's some green on paint stocks. Now, would you ascribe anything more than the crude tailwind to this? That could be a sentiment impact that's rubbing off today, but otherwise, is there any reason to look at any fresh money putting it to work in paint stocks?
I think yes, Surabhi, very good question. In fact, what has happened is traditionally there has always been a history attached to Asian Paints and a lot of such home improvement themes that these stocks have the tendency to not correct even during difficult cycles. And we have seen that a couple of years here and there, but they maintain their 18 to 20% CAGR growth, at least on the market cap growth front. So my sense is that this has been an extended period of correction. The stock has seen a big correction from say around 35, 3600 to around say 28, 2900 levels. Also, I think more or less what we have seen is home improvement as a theme. Be it new real estate sales or be it even home improvement as a theme or home refurbishment. My sense is that the next couple of years belong to this type of themes, be it paints, be it adhesives, be it fast-moving electrical goods, ceramics. We have been very bullish on this theme. Of course, there has been a hibernation of around 6 months, 1 year for this type of stocks. I see no reason why these companies would not do well. Of course, a valuation correction has happened here as well, as I talked about even mid-cap IT. Crude is a tailwind. I think you will see probably in the next couple of quarters good margin expansion as the inventory pressure start to sort of become a tailwind rather than a headwind.
Okay, got that. Devang, good morning. Thanks for joining us. I want to ask you about the telecom space. You know, we had Reliance Jio announce their new family plans and coming forth very aggressively right now. What do you think for the entire sector? Do you think the possibility of a price hike is just pushed back significantly for now? And I mean, of course, this is in the postpaid segment, which is less price sensitive, but your call on the telecom space now?
Pavitra, yes, absolutely right that this segment or rather this sector has always seen sort of competitive headwinds arising from nowhere. Maybe Bharti, maybe Reliance, or even Vodafone earlier used to some way come out and talk about aggressive plans as such. So what I think is this is a very capital intensive sector. Ideally now there is sort of a duopoly, or you can say a sort of an oligopoly in this sector. So most of the people would stand to benefit over the longer term. But in the shorter term, we all know that how probably whenever there is a 5G auction or something, most of the capex of these companies get towards this type of things. Though it's a long-term positive for these companies, but a lot of cash burn also happens initially. Though I think Jio is now operationally profitable, Bharti is a good profitable company. We are not generally big fans of as such telecom sector, but what importantly is, for example, Reliance now at a 52-week low, probably all the businesses firing on right cylinders, be it the old economy businesses, the new economy, as well as the retail business. Most of these companies, most of these segments are doing very well. My sense is that probably market, if market needs leadership, there has to be maybe banking stocks or IT stocks or something like a Reliance, which are now lagging to probably take that leadership role once the FII flows resume.
Devang, great conversation. Thank you very much for joining in. On the other side, we'll talk telecom. Reliance Jio is in focus on the back of its new postpaid launches, Jio Plus. We'll get into the details.